Hey, everybody, it's Movie Breakdown. And today we're going to tell you about the movie 10 by 10. And before we start, I'll ask you to subscribe to the channel, so you can help us a lot. Katie heads to her convenience store while Robert watches her, then she goes to her yoga class and Robert decides to check out her car, then pulls out a gun. After finishing the class, Katie tries to find her keys in her bag, which Robert takes advantage of by putting a bag on her and holding her down until she passes out. True to form, she manages to remove the bag, but the only person in the parking lot can't hear anything due to the very loud music, after which he simply leaves her lying on the ground, waiting for the next car to drive away so he can get in her place, followed by throwing Katie into the trunk. On the way home, police officers stop beside him, but his strong nerves help him not to give himself away. That's how he gets to his house, where the garage door fails, causing him to have to prop it open, and only then does he drive inside. Drags Katie into a secret 10 by 10 room and then covers her up with a table with a vase, after which he leisurely goes about his business and a little later decides to visit Katie, saying that all these walls don't let sound through, so she can skip it, and offers to take off the duct tape if she says her name, to which Katie agrees, but she just starts screaming, which causes him to go straight to the computer again, checking the tape and then cleaning the house. Katie herself tries to break the room somehow, and during all her attempts she notices a ventilation shaft, which causes her to start screaming right into it, not realizing that the house is in the middle of nowhere. A little later, Robert loads the gun and heads back to Katie's place where she offers a ransom, but he clearly doesn't want it, as he just wants her name. And after hearing the same, he once again goes off to look at Katie's things. She manages to stretch herself into a comfortable state. When he arrives, she manages to knock Robert back, as well as smashing an entire vase, and even almost manages to call the police if Robert hadn't come up, but Katie manages to knock him out again, whereupon she arms herself with a knife, cutting off the ties on his legs. And when Robert wakes up again, he invites her to sit next to him, but she doesn't want to do it, but he has a gun, and he says that if he wanted to kill her, she wouldn't be sitting here right now, and then he asks her name again. And she immediately fights back, but he pushes her to the counter, where Katie claws at him with her teeth and even makes a grab, but because he's obviously much stronger, he knocks her out, drags her back into the room, and the cleaning lady comes in so unexpectedly. And he doesn't say if he'll need her tonight, and he insists that she leave as soon as possible, which she agrees to, saying she'll come back tomorrow with her daughter. He then goes to administer first aid to Katie and proceeds to watch the TV, where there is a recording of a case of 3 patients. While Katie tries to check the connection, which of course there isn't, but here a broken tile might help. But a little later, Robert returns, asking questions that affect her whole life, and she answers each one. Afterward, he says he's been following her for a long time and her answers, an obvious lie, and a shot in the wall force her to change her answers. This is how she confesses that her name is actually Natalie and she has a twin Katie who took her own life when their father abandoned the family, and she asks what he kidnapped her for. The answer is that she already knows why he closes the door behind him and watches tapes of the past. As Natalie realizes she's not going to be able to get the tiles out and tries one more time to catch a connection by dialing 911, but there's still no signal, and Robert notices the phone is missing and rushes back, where he smashes the phone and starts asking more questions, from which we learn that Natalie worked at the very same hospital from the TV show, and he immediately asks about patients who somehow died while she was watching them, just like his wife, and he knows the hidden clues. Like one of the patients died just before he turned in his insurance, and his wife was very drunk for some reason, even though she never drinks. It's like Special Victims Unit, but if she doesn't confess, she'll die anyway. He then watches the tapes again and old emotions come flooding back, causing him to follow Natalie back to the house, where she decides to come clean. She and her sister grew up on the Bible, but when their father started cheating with their girlfriend, she decided to tell all, which caused him to leave them, and a little later their family is punished, even though it wasn't their fault. And from all of this Katie killed herself, and from that day on she calls herself Katie and adds that all 3 victims were guilty of something, and his wife even cheated on him, which he doesn't believe. This is the reason she killed the 3 sinners, after which Robert starts to pick up more and more details from the video, going into a frenzy, then goes off somewhere. All the while Natalie takes advantage of this time and with a shard of her phone pulls out a piece of tile. By this time the officers come out on Robert, because they are trying to figure out if his car is the one in the call, but after they check the trunk, they calmly let him go. When he arrives at Natalie's house, he tells her that she shouldn't have killed her until he deals with her himself. Whereupon she hits him in the shoulder with a shard and runs away, and immediately decides to run back to him, where Robert still manages to sneak away from Natalie and even picks up a gun. However, he is immediately kicked by Natalie, and during the fight she grabs the gun, pointing it right at him. But by this time Alan arrives with his daughter, causing Natalie to shoot the woman and take the girl hostage. Robert decides to say that he's been recording her confession all along, causing her to go into a stupor, which the girl takes advantage of by biting right into his arm, and Robert covers the girl with his body, followed by Natalie's strangulation. But it's all just a bluff from Natalie, which forces Robert to fire a shot. So he finds the girl, and while looking for the flash drive they notice that Natalie is missing, causing him to try to put the girl in the car where Natalie finds them, but because the bullets are already out, Robert is left alive. So they have a scuffle, in which he almost dies, but he manages at the last moment to knock over a mop, which he had been using to prop up the garage door, knocking Natalie down, and later the police come out. And that was Movie Breakdown. And don't forget, your subscriptions help us keep up the pace, delighting you with new content almost every day. We'll be back very soon. Bye.